Race number 1 of the British Talent Cup got underway under the evening sun on Saturday. It was Johnny Garness that got the whole shot at the start of the race, but then he was caught by the 23 of Rhys Stevenson. There was a collision at the end of lap 1 between Ryan Hitchcock and Bailey Stewart Campbell. But at the front, after Johnny Garness broke away, Rhys Stevenson took the lead, but Johnny Garness fought back at Village as he then stretched away for the remaining laps of the race. Well, Rhys Stevenson couldn't keep up because of a lack of fitness halfway through the race, but then it was the battle for third that was catching everyone's eye. Belford took third, but then slipped off as Stowe. The rider will be looking for more today, but the battle raged on for third position. But the soy looking up the inside of Carter Brown as Johnny Garness made it win number 7 of the season. But the race for third was snatched by Harley McCabe on the line to take his first podium of the year as Johnny Garness wrapped up another win. Rhys Stevenson celebrated the podium. It was Johnny Garness. Can anyone stop Garness from taking win number 8? Crossing between Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire counties, situated 70 miles northwest down the M1 from London, the 3.6 mile, 5.9 kilometre Silverstone circuit is the home of British motorsport and is the setting for round 6 of this incredible 2022 British Talent Cup season. As you can see, the weather is scorching hot today, the sun is shining and the fans are looking for a great race ahead. The final race of the day. I'm Liam Hodgins alongside Chris Jordan, and Chris, what a way to bookend racing action this weekend with British Talent Cup.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had 3 fantastic races already today, not without giving too much away, in case you want to go back and watch them. But really, after yesterday's action, I'm excited for this one. It was really a super race to watch. As you mentioned, Johnny Garness won in dominant fashion, but only after dealing with the challenge of Rhys Stevenson during the early stages. But they locked out 1 and 2, while that battle for the final podium position went all the way to the very line. Here we look at Rhys Stevenson now. He starts on pole. He may not have got the win yesterday, but he did record the fastest lap of the race, and that means he starts on pole. Having spoken with rider coach Alex Baldolini, his efforts yesterday in managing to stay with Garness for so long, that has apparently inspired the rest of the grid as they take aim at the cup leader Garness.
Very much so. The rest of the grid were battling it out very much so to try and stay with Johnny Garness. Every time one of them came past the other, they thought, well, I want to be the one that's chasing after Johnny, and unfortunately that was what held them up. So maybe today a bit more smarter riding will end up seeing a big battle at the front. The 5-minute board has shown 5 minutes until lights out here at Silverstone, and there is the man of the moment, the number 57, your championship leader. He leads it by 72 points, 7 wins to his name. He'll be chasing after win number 8 here today and equaling Casey O'Gorman's winning streak. Most wins in one season of British Talent Cup. Can he do it here today? Well, everyone else has got to try and stop him.
Yeah, if you have a mortgage, I wouldn't be betting against Johnny Garness running away with this one. He's just been in absolutely sensational form. It's the first time, though, since race 1 at Knockhill that he hasn't been on pole. What about this man, though, Harley McCabe? He picked up his first podium of the season in really sensational fashion, pinching third place off his team of Carter Brown and Harrison Desoy on the line. 0.02 of a second separating the 3 of them. Really super watch yesterday coming out of Woodcote.
It's great to see the British fans still soaking up the sun, waiting for the British Talent Cup action just after the Moto2 race is done for the British GP. It's fantastic to see such a bumper crowd here waiting to see the stars of the future here on the road to MotoGP. And we're just talking about him. Harrison Desoy finished 4th yesterday, the 4th fastest lap of the race yesterday, so he starts from the outside of the front row, the inside, if you were to look at the grid from the outside. But he is looking for another podium, another great result, and he just lost out yesterday as well to Harley McCabe. He will be looking to rectify that as much as he can. The number 52 of Evan Belford, he came back from an injury at Knockhill 2 rounds ago, picked up a win on his return. He's had another podium. He picked that up last time out at Brands Hatch, but since then he's had a couple of DNFs, including yesterday's when he was struggling for pace, found it again, but then slipped off towards the end of the race at Stowe Corner. He'll be looking to really rebound for today's race.
Yeah, and you mentioned it yesterday, Belford, he put in such a great fight. He was right in the thick of the action for that podium, that final podium place. But his afternoon speed had been lacking all weekend, and we began to see it a little bit just before he crashed. Lucas Brown, he picked up a great result yesterday, picking up P6. He's got 0 wins, 0 podiums, but yesterday's result was very encouraging, and he'll be hopeful of getting into that top 3 for the very first time this campaign.
Well, the klaxon has been sounded. The mechanics, the teams, they make the way off the grid. The visors shut as these riders get ready for race number 2 here at Silverstone. There's Max Rosebrook, the number 84, the long blonde hair rider with the hair sticking at the back of his helmet. You really cannot miss him as he comes through the grid. And talking of helmets, Chris, yesterday you really wanted to find out what was behind the helmet of the number 23 on the grid there, Rhys Stevenson. Well, we found out yesterday that that is the actual flag of the Lincolnshire County, so mystery all solved.
Yeah, thank you very much for going and finding out. That's journalism at its finest.
That's what we do here, the finest journalism for the British Talent Cup. Find out what is the meaning behind a helmet. And to be honest, I actually thought it was the South African flag for a little while. Spoke to him yesterday, and he said that everyone says that to him as well. But he was delighted with yesterday's race, second place, but he was actually gutted about, this is going to blow your mind, just scratching his helmet a little bit on the screen of the visor. So I said to him, well, you won't be able to see that during the live or on TV, so don't worry about it at all. But yeah, that was the only thing he was dejected about yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't have too much to be disappointed about. And on the topic of it being looking somewhat South African, he did have a certain Brad Binder at hand to help him out and support him today as a fan here, young Rhys Stevenson.
Yeah, it was an ex-mechanic of Brad Binder.
Sorry, an ex-mechanic, excuse me.
Yeah, that's okay. Mechanics, technicians, we all get them mixed up ever so slightly. But yeah, he's been on hand a couple of times this year. He has turned up today to be, well, a fan, but we know that he'll probably be giving Rhys Stevenson just a little bit of advice, just trying to motivate him to go one better and take that race win. But here's the grid anyway. So it is Rhys Stevenson starting in pole position ahead of championship leader Johnny Garness and Harley McCabe on the outside of row number 3. The Soy from Belford, he'll be looking to rectify his crash from yesterday. I have Lucas Brown, and then further back we've got Max Rosebrook, Harrison Crosby and Carter Brown. Yeah,
in the 4th row then we see Sullivan Mounty joined by Clayton Edmonds and Keanu Vire, the Dutchman, or the young Dutch rider, fighting through the pain barrier. Peter Willis, Julian Correa and Ollie Walker in row 5, with Philip Zodiac, Charlie Huntingford and Ted Wilkinson in the next row back.
Bailey Stewart Campbell in 19th. He had a crash yesterday with Ryan Hitchcock, and he'll be looking to rectify that. Harrison McKay next up ahead of Troy Jeffrey, Ryan Hitchcock, Josh Bannister and Calvin Kelly in 24th ahead of Lucas Hill, Alexander Rowan, Alfie Davidson, Ollie Horner, Mason Johnson, Elijah Banish, Daniel Goodman and Holly Harris round out your runners and riders in 32nd place.
Yeah, it's a big field, this one. 32 riders. They do quite well to avoid one another. But here we go on the siding lap as they come around. Maggots and Beckett's getting a feel for everything going on. For sure, we're going to see lots of overtaking around these points, particularly as we come up towards Chapel and then onto the Hanger Straight, where slipstream will very much come into effect.
Very much so. We saw riders overtaking everywhere they could find. I don't think there was any inch of this racetrack that wasn't used yesterday. They could find any bit of tarmac they wanted to, but not going over the track limits. I was actually really impressed with the riders yesterday, not getting a warning, not getting a penalty because of track limits, which is so easy to do when you just run off the curb ever so slightly and onto the green. And just remember, if you do that a couple of times, you won't get a warning anymore. It will be a long lap penalty.
Yeah, it must be said, there was a lot of hard fighting, but it was elbows out, but it was all very fair, it was all very clean and very disciplined from this field of young riders.
So as the riders make the way around the warm-up lap, the number 4 of Sullivan Mounty, he'll be looking. He was in the battle yesterday for that 3rd spot. He got shuffled back a little bit in the final lap, but he was very much in the mix and hoping to go a few places better here today and pick up a podium. The number 2 of Josh Bannister, he just missed out in points yesterday. He's a rookie this year. Josh Bannister from also the Fab Racing Series. He was absolutely brilliant as a contender for the Mini GP Series in Fab Racing. So he's someone that's starting to pick up a bit of confidence, a little bit of performance as well. So look out for the number 2, a very distinctive number 2. You can't miss it as he tries to get his way into the points here today.
Yeah, a lot of contenders throughout the field. Some guys from yesterday I feel they didn't quite live up to expectations, didn't quite have the race they wanted. With only 15 point scoring places available, you're going to have 17 riders missing out. So a lot of guys will be looking to pick up their first points of the weekend here.
Well, you just saw the championship standings there. Johnny Garness leads the championship by almost 3 races. 72 points ahead of teammate Carter Brown on the M-Lav Vision Track racing team. And then Keanu Vira in third. Now, he had a crash here on Friday in qualifying, went to the hospital, was declared fit, but was feeling a little bit sore yesterday. Did take the race, finished an amazing 11th to pick up 5 points to keep himself well in the hunt for second place in the championship. He's feeling a lot better today, so he'll be hoping to crack that top 10 and maybe even fight for the top 5.
Yeah, very much so. We can see the red flag out now. Riders taking their place on the grid. Who's going to take the whole shot out of this one? It's anyone's guess. You've got 4 or 5 contenders from the first 5 places, from the first 2 rows. Carter Brown in 9th place as well. Keep an eye on the number 74 of him. Red flag on the rise, and we're nearly set to go. Green flag waves in the back.
From right to left, it's Stevenson, Garness and McCabe. Who will it be as the revs rise? Everyone looks towards the lights, and away they go. It's number 23 gets a great launch, but not as good as Johnny Garness, who steamrolled his way to the front, heading into turn number 1. And Desoy looking around the outside of McCabe as he holds 4th spot there. So it's Garness from Stevenson, McCabe, Desoy, and Sullivan Moundy, who made a great start in yesterday's race. He's done the same again today. He's in 5th as they make their way through Magnus and Beckett's. Belford slips down the order a little bit. A few moves going through Magnus and Beckett's there, but cleanly through the first few corners so far, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely superb start from Johnny Garness. He may not be on pole, but he has got the whole shot. Reece Stevenson's going to do his best to keep up. They don't want a gap. And who's this now? We've got a problem.
Looks like
the
Ryan
number
Hitchcock.
43. Oh, it's been a disastrous 2 races for young Ryan Hitchcock. I'm not sure what's gone wrong with him there, but it's a second DNF.
That's such a shame for Ryan Hitchcock. DNF yesterday, DNF it looks like today. Maybe there was an issue with the bike, having to rebuild it after yesterday's crash with Bailey Stewart Campbell. But halfway through lap number 1, it's Garness, the championship leader, chasing a race win number 8 of the season and to extend his championship lead. He has his nemesis from yesterday, Reece Stevenson, chasing him down on the black number 23 bike. And just behind them is Harley McCabe. Now, he felt he could go with these 2 yesterday. When I was speaking to him in the post-race press conference, can he do it here today? Almost touching the green was Reece Stevenson. Johnny Garness as he come up the Hamilton straight, trying to break the slipstream of the number 23, and everyone snaking through that section of track. Sullivan Mounty putting a bit of pressure on Harrison Desoy, so the top 3 now breaking away as they head the way into Village. Yeah,
Harrison Desoy is going to want to put some pace on it and bring the guys behind him. Sullivan Mounty, Belford, Lucas Brown and Roycebrook all chasing him. But yeah, we've got 0.6 of a second almost between the front 3 and 4th place. We're going to want to be very careful here, because we saw what happened yesterday. Johnny Garness and Reece Stevenson went away and they locked out the front 2 places by the halfway stage.
It's disaster for Carter Brown. He's not only just slipped back a little bit, he slipped back to 10th place now. He's found himself behind Clayton Edmonds. So a lot of work for the number 74 today. You can just see him making some moves in the background as they went into Brooklands there. So that is a disaster for the number 74. He's trying to make a move up the inside on the curb of Belford there. He's pushed him a little bit wide, and he's also lost another place to Clayton Edmonds. That was ambitious but brilliant by Carter Brown as he takes 8th spot.
Yeah, absolutely super move that. 2 for the price of 1 there. He now moves ahead of his own teammates. Carter Brown's up to 6th, Lucas Brown down to 7th. And who else is inside the top 10? We've got Evan Belford has slipped to 8th place. Clayton Edmonds and Matthew Roycebrook complete your top 10 for the time being.
Yeah, don't get them confused. Lucas and Carter Brown, they're no relation, but they're stuck together on the racetrack as you found them yesterday quite a lot. But Harley McCabe is the rider on the move here on the start of lap number 2. The number 79 on the M-Lav Vision Track racing team, trying to chase after his teammate. He's feeling confident after his first podium yesterday. He's feeling like he can take the fight to Johnny Garness. These 3 are breaking away as they head down the hanger straight into Stowe. But Johnny Garness, the really small frame of the number 57 rider, has such a speed advantage down this straight as well. But Harley McCabe has not really lost any time, a couple of bike lengths in that, but he feels like he's really good on the brakes, really good through the twisty stuff, so he'll be expecting to close that back in. And there we go, that's Ryan Hitchcock unfortunately entering the pits. The number 43 rider has not had a good time here in Silverstone. He'll be hoping to bounce back next weekend at Thruxton, but Desoy almost up the inside of the number 4 of Sullivan Mounty there. Mounty late on the brakes, Leary on the brakes, around the outside. Brilliant stuff from the number 4.
Yeah, 2 laps in, and we can see that gap between the front 3 and the chasing pack. Even the chasing pack has been reduced to 2 now between Mounty and Desoy. It's growing all the time, so this is concerning for the podium battle in the case of the 2 Browns, Desoy and Mounty.
We've got a move coming up here. This is going to be Stevenson taking 2 for the price of 1 up the inside into Village. Surway gets a jump start and a right through penalty. That's disastrous for the Polish rider who got a point yesterday. Johnny Garness looked like if he tried to get back up the inside like he did yesterday, but couldn't make a stick here today. Stevenson leads onto the Wellington straight.
Yeah, absolutely superb
Whoa,
move. Another 2 for
close.
1 and they go wide. And we see Harley McCabe just going out wide, but Johnny Garness is going to get back into the lead here. He's going to find the inside line, and Harley McCabe is lining up a move as well. Will he be able to hold it, or will Stevenson have the defensive line? He holds the defensive line as they come back around onto the right-hander, but Garness leads.
That could have been disaster between Garness
but
and
not for
Stevenson.
long.
Yeah,
Stevenson's gone back in front.
Wow, what a move by Stevenson, but Garness ran a little bit wide, maybe to get the run onto straight. He's going to go round the outside of Woodcock. He's done it. Is this a little bit of lining up
Superb.
to do? Brilliant racing by these 3. And here comes McCabe as well. McCabe, he's looking to take the lead into turn number 1. Has he done it late on the brakes? No, it's going to be Garness from Stevenson, from McCabe. This is what we wanted yesterday. We're getting it today. 3 riders, the top 3 from yesterday, as Stevenson tells McCabe to tag onto the back. I've seen that happen so many times.
How often do we see that, Liam? How often do we see that?
And it never works. It just gives the rider behind an incentive to overtake.
Well, I tell you what, this is what we want to see in the podium fight, the victory fight, but it's also what Sullivan Mountsie and Harrison Dostoy want to see. The 2-second gap has been cut half a second through that final sector as they come to within 1.5 seconds of the lead 3 riders.
Yeah, the more that these 3 at the top decide to battle with one another, that just allows Mountsie and Dostoy to close in ever so slightly, and then Carter Brown's bridging that gap to Dostoy and Mountsie as well, so he'll be seeing that battling going on up in front as well, and he'll be licking his lips ready for, well, what he hopes will be a podium battle and a podium here today.
Yeah, Carter Brown starting from 9th wasn't ideal, but he's definitely doing a good job. He's sidling his way through. He's already gained 3 places. Evan Belford is one of those behind him, but he's some work to do. He's still got, what, 0.6 of a second behind Harrison Dostoy. He's going to need to pick up the pace, but he's just set a PB first sector.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. The battle going on further back. That is Belford who leads the way ahead of Lucas Brown and Clayton Edmonds to round out the 7th, 8th and 9th place riders, with Keanu Vire still feeling a little bit sore after his crash on Friday. He's inside the top 10. Here comes Stevenson once again, and to Village, runs a little bit deep. Does he? Yes, he does. Well, Garness get the switch back. He tries it, and round the outside goes the number 57 of Garness. He feels so confident. He knows what he can do. He knows what the bike is doing underneath him, and it just feels like he's playing ever so slightly with Stevenson there. As Stevenson once again tells McCabe to tag onto the back of him. I don't think he needs to do that because McCabe was a couple of bike lengths further back, but it's Johnny Garness who opens up the lead now. Let's hope that he's not about to check out.
Yeah, we saw that a couple of times yesterday there coming through Village, that Stevenson trying a move, but Garness holding a strong defensive line, coming back around on the switchback and emerging in the lead, and it was a carbon copy there, and I doubt it's going to be the last time we see that move in this race.
We're going to have to keep an eye on Carter Brown's lap time as he come across the lane this time round. Will it be the fastest lap of the race? Yes, it is. Carter Brown, the fastest lap, a 2-minute 19.493. As Stevenson rides round the outside of McCabe. You can't do that, but Stevenson says yes you can, and great move by Stevenson as he made it went through into Max Becker's. McCabe chops across the front of the number 23. Garness starting to pull the gap, but Carter Brown with the new best race lap record, he is seeing this battle happen in front of him. He wants a little piece of the action, but he has to get past Sullivan Mountsie first.
Yeah, absolutely super ride. He's had nearly a second in his pocket over the majority of riders in front of him, so we can expect him to close a gap. It shouldn't be long before he gets by Sullivan Mountsie, maybe into the slipstream here coming down the Hanger Straight and into Stowe on the right hander. Is he going to try something up the inside? Maybe he's not quite close enough. Back at the front, Stevenson's back into second place, and this battle between Stevenson and McCabe is exactly what Johnny Garness wants as he begins to put a gap between them, nearly out to a second at this stage.
Yeah, it's a little bit worrying. It's up to 0.8 of a second. Carter Brown round the outside of Mountsie as they make their way into the club section of the track. The number 74 is now into 4th, and Johnny Garness looks over his shoulder. Stevenson once again tells McCabe to not fight him, to tag onto the back. Stevenson feels like he can go with Garness, but the gap as it passed the sector that time around is 1.1 seconds, so it's difficult to tell if Stevenson can catch Garness because Garness is now in his groove.
Yeah, he's just set 2 PB race best first and second sector, although Reece Stevenson has done quite well in that second sector, but Johnny Garness had 0.6 in his back pocket over there. Let's see what comes up in the third sector, but Garness is very much, as you say, in his groove and opening up a significant advantage at this early stage. Another 6/10 in his pocket there.
Stevenson is now breaking clear of the number 79 of Harley McCabe, so McCabe has been left in the dust by the number 23, your pole setter from today, who was finishing second, and this is a great scrap for fourth place. Mounsey up the inside of Carter Brown, can't make it stick, so Carter Brown holds on to that spot through Brooklyn with Desoy still sitting there. A bit of a moment there for Desoy as he entered the Luffield corner, so maybe not, well, maybe trying his hardest to keep up with him and just trying a little bit too hard as Mounsey rides round the outside of Carter Brown, shaping that up nicely for the last lap, and Mounsey crosses the line in fourth before the start finish line as Johnny Garness absolutely obliterates the race lap record. That was a 2-minute 18.816. Garness has checked out.
Yeah, it's almost game over at this early stage. Let's hope not, that Stevenson can find some pace, but it's going to be a very, very difficult task to catch Johnny Garness, as they have found all season. This could be another victory. Win number 8 of the season already is on the cards for Johnny Garness. Stevenson, he's putting in some good pace in another PB he just set in the first sector, but he's still got Harley McCabe on his tail, while back we have the battle for fourth between 3 riders, Sullivan Mounsey, Carter Brown and Harrison Desoy. They're going to hopefully close the gap as Carter Brown lines up another move on the inside coming into Stowe.
These two are finding every piece of track they can to overtake each other. This is great racing between Brown and Mounsey. Mounsey trying to retaliate round the outside later on the brakes. Who is it going to be? We know Carter Brown is a demon on the brakes, and he chops across the front of Sullivan Mounsey with Desoy still there as well. We've got some chopping and changing further back. Belford is back into 8th spot ahead of Lucas Brown and Crosby now. So Crosby yesterday finished in 10th place, or finished in 9th place. Was feeling good all weekend, but yesterday had a little bit of an illness when he was on the grid. He says that got into his head a little bit, so he didn't really perform as well as he could. He was hoping for a better race here today, but down in 10th spot, it's not going the way he wanted.
Yeah, it's not been an ideal trip to Silverstone for Harrison Crosby. He does have a few podiums to his name as Carter Brown moves up the inside of Mounsey, and it looks like he's going to make this one stick. But for Harrison Crosby, it's not been ideal. Hopefully he's feeling better today, but he won't be too happy, I suppose. For somebody that ideally wants to be in the podium hunt, P10 is not an ideal position to be in right now, as the likes of Johnny Garness, Rhys Stevenson and Harley McCabe leave a trail of dust behind them.
Johnny Garness has really checked out now. He's really stretched his advantage at the front. It was over 1 second. It's nearly 2.1 seconds now for your championship leader. But Rhys Stevenson's coming under a lot of pressure from Harley McCabe as we watch the battle for fourth between Carter Brown, that is, Mounsey and Desoy. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the gap between Stevenson and McCabe as they come across the line. This time round, as across the start-finish line, it's still Stevenson that leads away in second, but only 2/10 ahead of McCabe as Mounsey shapes up another move on Carter Brown into turn number 1. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can, but will Carter Brown get the switch back? No, he can't. Mounsey still holds it for now.
He's done well to hold the line there, but it looks like they both have drive coming out of the corner. Mounsey will just get in ahead. Yeah, Rhys Stevenson, Harley McCabe has just set a PB lap, so he's gaining in on Stevenson. Stevenson has also said that his fitness in the second half of a race is something he needs to work on, so he's going to get a good test out here now with 6 laps remaining. And who's this that we've lost in the race? I can't quite see, unfortunately.
That was the number 9 of Bailey Stewart Campbell, so that's another disastrous day for Stewart Campbell. The number 9 rider went down yesterday on lap number 1 to Ryan Hitchcock, and he's ended his day early today as well. So that is a disaster there for the number 9.
Yeah, not an ideal day for either Stewart Campbell or Hitchcock. They haven't finished either race. Getting caught up in the same incident early on yesterday. They've been caught out here in separate incidents. It's an unfortunate weekend for the 2 young riders.
And we've got a black flag showing for Surwick. So Surwick, a disaster for him. He's been back on track, but he's getting the black flag now, so he will have to pull into the pits. That will be the end of his racing here today. So a great result yesterday with 15th, his second point scoring ride all of the season, but today, well, he'll have to park it up and go home a little bit early. So it's a great shame there for the Polish rider, but it's back at the front. And
have we lost Sullivan Mounsey?
We have done. Great spot there, Chris. We've lost Sullivan Mounsey crashing out at, well, Vale. So crashing out at Vale corner there, that's disaster for Sullivan Mounsey. He was looking so good in the battle between himself, Carter Brown and Harrison Desoy. So Sullivan Mounsey stomps off, shakes his head, and that is him done for the day as well.
That is a shame. I'd like to see what happened there as we see the black flags continue to wave. Johnny Garness has a significant advantage over P2 and P3, Stevenson and McCabe. While Carter Brown now and Harrison Desoy, it's a two-man battle for P4. Suriak, as we can see, he failed to comply with the ride-through penalty, and that is why there's black flags waving around.
I now wonder if he's going to try and stay out there and just get more race experience, or if he will comply with the black flag and pull into the pits. Only time will tell, but he will see around the track that he has got a black flag, and the board will be showing his number as well.
Would you risk suffering the wrath of the steward by staying out there, Liam?
Absolutely not. I like to follow the rules, I do, so I will not be going on the wrong side of the rule makers with this one.
Yeah, and as we can see, confirmation once again, number 75 of Suriak has the black flag. He's currently positioned in P25, so let's see if he complies with the black flag.
And Suriak outside the commentary box window has pulled into the pit, so he has complied with it. So the black flags will be pulled in, but Philip Suriak, he is out for the day. But someone that isn't out for the day is your race leader, your championship leader, Johnny Garness. He's out for a nice Sunday evening ride here at Silverstone under the British sunshine. A fantastic way for him to complete the weekend as he is on course, barring any mistakes, with 4.5 laps to go to extend his championship lead over main. Right, there was a little bit of a twitch there through the Vale corner, so let's hope that nothing went too awry there for Johnny Garness as he went from the left to right. No doubt, he's still on the bike, still storming off into the distance, and he's on course, barring any mistakes, for race win number 8.
Yeah, and just behind him, Stevenson has been under pressure from McCabe, but he's responded in kind. He set a race fastest sector 1 there, and then a PB sector 2. So he's picking up some pace with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, the top 5 are a little bit strung out. 3.3 seconds between Garness and Stevenson. McCabe is about 0.8 of a second further back from Stevenson, and then you've got a big old gap of nearly 4 seconds back to Carter Brown and Harrison Desoy. So it's the battle further back between Edmonds, Vire, Belford and Crosby that we've really got to keep an eye on, because that's where the battling is really going on. There's only, well, 1 second covering 5 riders there between Vire, Belford, Edmonds, Lucas Brown, Harrison Crosby and Max Rosebrooke. So great riding there, and giving us great entertainment as they try and fight for the higher reaches of the top 10.
Yeah, and it seems Rosebrooke himself has lost 3 or 4 places in one corner, judging by, I saw his name. And a little look back there from Johnny Garness.
A little wave as well. It's like,
just a little look back, a little wave. See you later, fellas. We'll see you for a cup of tea after the checkered flag.
Yeah, he might be waiting for a little while. That cup of tea will be getting very cold, because his gap at the front now is up to 3.8 seconds. He's just taking off into the distance, but the battle for second, and that's the one we now have to keep an eye on, that's really heating up. McCabe that time round was a little bit faster than Stevenson at the front, only a few hundredths of a second quicker, so he really closes up at the end of the lap, while Stevenson opens up that gap again at the start of the lap. So Harley McCabe faced third yesterday's first podium of the year. He'll be looking to back that up, but he wants to go one step further. Instead of third, he wants to finish second.
Yeah, it's all eyes now on the battle for second. Look at that gap between the front 3. And here we go, McCabe. Is he going to try and move up the inside, and is he going to stick it? He does indeed. Can Stevenson respond as they come around this right-hander? Not at all. They've all set a PB. Oh, well, I spoke too soon. He's come back on the inside. He's had a little look over his shoulder. And who's going to come out on top of this one? They're side by side.
And it looks like it's McCabe that's come out on top of that one. Brilliant stuff by Harley McCabe. Stevenson looked over his shoulder there, a bit of a shake of his head. So, and we've got another rider down. That looks like it's the number 53 of Keanu Vire. A disaster. He's limping away. I just hope he's limping away from the crash that happened to him on Friday, and that's not a new injury he has. But Keanu Vire, third in the championship, was in this battle. Oh, nearly almost tagged the back, I think, of Clayton Edmonds, but just runs off. So thankfully, well, the number 53 rider hasn't gone down. Shake of the head there, so maybe it's a technical issue there for the Meekerlee's Academy team rider.
Yeah, thankfully nothing too serious by looking at it initially, and he should hopefully be okay for the next round of action. Back out front, the pace is hotting up yes again. Johnny Garness is putting in some rapid times, and Stevenson has just managed to take just a little further back. Rhys Stevenson has managed to pinch P2 back off Harley McCabe as they come down, but is McCabe about to respond? He is indeed.
It's not quite the battle for the win, but the battle for second is the next best we'll get, and McCabe is giving us some fireworks along with Stevenson here. So what can Stevenson do? Up the inside, almost into Luffield there as they come through Woodcote next time round. And Johnny Garness, we don't have to speak about that. The only rider still in the 2-minute 19s, the only rider that can break into it, the high 2-minute 19s, though everyone else is either in the low 2-minute 20s or the high 21s. So yeah, great stuff there from Johnny Garness as his lead now opens up to 5 seconds. I bet that he's now trying to put in an even greater gap between himself and the chasing pair than he did yesterday when it was almost at 8 seconds. So he's got 3 more seconds to find in 3 laps. I don't think he can do that. But into Maggotts and Beckett's for the third last time. McCabe runs a little bit wide. Stevenson has nowhere to look up the inside, but maybe he's just shaping up a great run through Maggotts and Beckett's on towards the hangar straight. Here we go. Can he get into the slipstream of the number 79? Will he be able to shape up a move into Stowe Corner as he power down the hangar straight?
Yeah, all eyes now on the battle for P2. Is there going to be a move here? I don't think he's quite close enough. Or here, no, not quite close enough yet. But you can see he's just lining up and getting a good look at the rear end of that Honda machine of Harley McCabe.
Oh, he's done it now.
Here we go.
Yeah, great move there. He seemed to square the corner off. Stevenson with the power down coming out of Stowe managed to get around the outside of Harley McCabe as they entered Vale. And through Club, he's opened up a couple of bike lengths through Club as well, so maybe a little bit of a mistake there as McCabe asked for the power, nearly touching the green with Stevenson. He's nearly done that a few times, but so far so good. All squeaky clean with 2 and a bit laps remaining.
Yeah, and we're looking through, just a quick look through outside the top 3. Carter Brown has pretty much consolidated 4th place for himself ahead of Harrison Desoy. He's got over a second's advantage. Clayton Edmonds is in 6th with Harrison Crosby, Julian Gray, Roysborough, and Lucas Brown completing the top 10. Evan Belfort, he recorded that DNF yesterday. He's still going today, but it seems he's struggling for a little bit for pace as the race has wore on. He's back in P11.
Yeah, Clayton Edmonds, really good riders. Stevenson there comes straight across the other side of the Wellington Straight, trying to break the slipstream of Harley McCabe, and he did that as well, so Harley McCabe couldn't find a way through, but Rosebrigg moves up past Correa, that's Manuel Correa, into 8th spot. But Clayton Edmonds trying for a great result here today, his first top 6 since I think around round number 1 and race number 2 at Silverstone, so very much a track he likes. But back then at Silverstone and round number 1, it was the national circuit. Here today with 2 laps remaining, it's a GP circuit, and Stevenson is still got McCabe all over his rear wheel with 2 laps to go. This is anyone's guess who's going to take second.
Yeah, I've absolutely no idea which way this is going to go. There's plenty of overtaking points around this circuit and plenty of opportunity yet. We still have, what, 2 laps to go? There should be at least 6-7 opportunities for McCabe to get in front of Stevenson's Honda. He needs to get a little bit closer than he currently is as he's coming into some of the harder braking corners.
We've got an absolute brilliant scrap going on from 6th all the way down to the fringes of the points. That is from, well, Edmonds all the way down to Ollie Walker, covered by 2.7 seconds between those riders there. That is something we wish we had up the front, but from 6th all the way down to 14th, a great scrap going on there as those riders all battle out for as many points as they can possibly get. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as well, but it's a battle at the front. Stevenson runs in the green. That's the first time I've seen him do that, but he's been edging ever closer to that green for the last few laps. I'm wondering now if Stevenson's fitness is still starting to come into play. He was suffering in the second half of the race yesterday. He said that he really needs to work on his fitness, and maybe we're starting to see that play up now.
Yeah, it could definitely factor in with just a couple laps to go, but these are long laps and they are physical and they are tough on the body. So McCabe may just be waiting for his moment to strike, waiting for Stevenson to slip. He's been picture perfect so far, except for that little slip onto the green, but it's been picture perfect from Stevenson as he's defended P2 quite admirably to date.
Yeah, 11 laps around this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. That is 64.9 kilometres, almost 65 kilometres there. I certainly would not be wanting to muscle one of these Honda 250 machines around this circuit for almost half an hour. I don't think you would want to do that as well, Chris. It would be a toll on the body indeed.
Yeah, I don't think I'd even fit onto one of these machines, unfortunately.
You are a tall fella, indeed. But Rhys Stevenson consolidating second spot. He's opened up that gap. That's almost the gap of 0.8 of a second between Stevenson and McCabe. So the top three as we enter the final lap of the race. Johnny Garness, your race leader, your championship leader, he is on course, barring any mishap that may happen to the number 57, to make it win number 8 out of 12 races. He's finished every single race so far this year on the podium. Only twice he has not finished, and they're the only 2 times he has not scored a podium spot. So Johnny Garness in great fashion, absolutely obliterating the field here today as he did yesterday.
Yeah, and just behind him, I think Rhys Stevenson is making you eat your own words. You questioned his fitness. He's after now gapping Harley McCabe to over a second onto this final lap as they come through these fast-flowing sectors. He's just posted another personal best first sector. It's no problem for Stevenson by the looks of it, and he's set for a second place of the weekend.
204 kilometres down the Hangar Straight for Johnny Garness. That is rapid speeds. Look at the gap there. That is 204 kilometres for Garness. Stevenson 8 kilometres slower. So I wonder if the size difference on these 250 Moto 3 machines really comes into effect here, because they get really affected by a little bit of wind that blows across the circuit, and of course it will be the weight of the riders as well, as we have Wilkinson that's dropping down the order. So I wonder if there's a mistake there for Wilkinson, who drops further down the field. That is down into 14th place. But no such problems for the number 57. Johnny Garness is half a lap away from win number 8.
Yeah, and we can see just a little further down that 210 kilometres set by, excuse me,
Ollie Walker.
Ollie Walker has set a rapid time, the top speed of the race so far. But it's all about this man out front as he comes into the final sector, up the Wellington Straight. Coming up now, he's going to romp home to yet another victory in the British Talent Cup.
236 points will be the gap for Johnny Garness as they come along the start, or come along the Wellington Straight into Brooklands Corner. He will have a gargantuan gap at the top of the standings from Carter Brown. Keanu Vire scored no points here today, but rounding the second last corner through Luffield, you can hear the horns blowing as the fans cheer on. An absolute masterful display by Johnny Garness. The number 57 from Devon takes the checkered flag and win number 8. He sets up and goes, that was easy. In second, we've got Rhys Stevenson, who takes another second place, and completing the podium just like yesterday is Harley McCabe.
Yeah, it's a carbon copy of yesterday's result. Carter Brown in 4th, Harrison Desai in 5th, with Clayton Edmonds coming across the line in 6th by the looks of things. But yeah, Johnny Garness, I don't think of any more superlatives to describe this guy. He could do a little bit of work on those wheelies though. He struggled yesterday, he didn't quite get the length and distance on that one. That would be the only fault I think we have of that rider at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to have to give him a 9.5 for performance here today, but no questions at all about his race display. But as you said, the celebrations could too with a little bit of work. But if he keeps on winning like this, he'll have plenty of time to focus on fixing those celebrations indeed. Johnny Garness, another race win under his belt. That is the 5th race win in a row and his 2nd double from 2.
Yeah, and a show of sportsmanship there between Stevenson and Garness. P1, P2 once again. Rhys Stevenson, we saw how happy he was yesterday, and he looks quite delighted again as he shows off that Lincolnshire helmet. I tell you what, I am a big fan of it.
I might have to try and get you a replica made so we can give it to you for your birthday or Christmas there. So I'll let Rhys Stevenson know that you are a big fan of the helmet and some goon riding there. Rhys Stevenson, he is a showman, he has a big personality, he's an absolute fantastic character around the paddock is Rhys Stevenson, and he'll be absolutely over the moon with the 2nd spot. Maybe a little bit gutted he didn't take the win, but Harley McCabe, first podium yesterday, he takes the 2nd one today. That is job done for the number 79. Carter Brown, unfortunately, he's on screen here, the number 74 rider. He did all he could. Well, he will pop a wheelie, maybe showing Johnny Garness how to pop one. Maybe not indeed. Yeah, maybe the MLAT Vision Track boys really need to work on the wheelies. Ah, there we go. That's a good one there. Yeah, we got there in the end. Carter Brown, 13 solid points, but 12 points lost to his teammate Johnny Garness. Harrison Desai, the number 55, he couldn't do anything about Brown. Clayton Edmonds did come out on top of the battle for 6th ahead of Lucas Brown. Harrison Crosby Julian Correa and Matt Rosebrooks rounding out the top 10 ahead of Peter Willis, Ollie Walker, Harrison McKay, Evan Belford. So disaster for Belford, but at least he got a finish under his belt. He was down to 14th, and then Rowan round out the point scorers.
Yeah, and as we could see there, Garness's advantage is now very, very significant, and it's looking very, very difficult and unlikely that anybody is going to catch him coming up into the final 3 rounds of the season.
Yeah, 6 more races to go of the championship. Next weekend it will be in Thruxton. Can anyone put a glove on Johnny Garness there? His points tally is over 3 races worth. I absolutely love watching the celebrations of Reece Stevenson. Some good riding there, taking some inspiration of Jack Miller. I'm maybe a big fan of Jack Miller. He is. Waves to the crowd. The crowd appreciated that. They're standing on their feet as they congratulate Reece Stevenson on a fantastic second place finish again here today. And a big congratulations to all of the riders from the fans. They know when they've seen some great riding, they know that some of these riders will be big stars of the future on the road to MotoGP, but none more so than this man at the moment, Johnny Garness, on the number 57 machine, seemingly unstoppable in 2022.
Yeah, and it's great to see lots of the fans sticking around to watch the next generation of British talent coming through. They've bared the heat. I think it's still about 24, 25 degrees. And as we know all too well, people from the UK and Ireland don't generally do too well in the sun. But Johnny Garness is shining, certainly on track.
And he's definitely shining with that wheelie, so we're going to have to bump up his celebration performance to 10, because that was an absolute spectacular wheelie as he came into the pits, playing to the crowd. Maybe that's all he needed, was the fan support to pop that big wheelie. But yes, as you say, Chris, Johnny Garness, absolutely brilliant, and he is shining incredibly bright. Brighter than the sunshine here at Silverstone, which I must admit is very difficult indeed. A stop as he came into park for me. Congratulations all round from the MLab Vision Track team, because Johnny Garness takes win number 8. So 236 points is the total for Johnny Garness, with 6 more races to go. How many more trophies will he add to his collection in 2022? Chris, I can imagine he's going to add a lot more. Here's a replay of what happened earlier on in the race when Johnny Garness lost the lead the running ride at Luffield. Reece Stevenson took full advantage, but Johnny Garness, squaring the corner off, just rode as cleanly as you like round the outside of the number 23 rider. That is absolutely brilliant camera work there. The slow motion replay really giving us an insight of how these riders really push themselves, and the checkered flag waved for Johnny Garness. 8 wins from 12 races as he sets up and just knows that he is the man of the moment.
Yeah, absolutely superb performance once again. 6 seconds his advantage over Stevenson, who himself had a 2.5 second advantage over McCabe. Before we go nearly 5 seconds further back to Brown. 3 excellent rides from 3 excellent young talents. So a drink of something cold for Johnny Garness. We said yesterday he barely even broke a sweat. He looks to the camera with a big smile on his face, and he can beam from ear to ear, knowing that he has the perfect record. 50 points from the Silverstone weekend here. The British GP support class for the MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 championships, and no doubt that some of these riders will be there someday. Incredible. Has a picture taken with the first position board, and well, we have a feeling that will definitely not be the last of the season. Plenty more chances to pick up even more wins. Yeah, Michael Laverty definitely has a star on his hands, a rough diamond that he could cultivate into something special if he keeps up this form, and we will expect to see him now in Rookies Cup action and Hawker's European Talent Cup action in the years to come. Reece Stevenson, if he keeps up this form as well, he could very much be a name that we're mentioning a lot in the future.
Yeah, big hugs there to his team members. That was ex-mechanic for Brad Binder, who he gave a massive hug to, so maybe he helped him out this weekend as well. He wasn't supposed to be here this weekend, but he was there on hand, and we can watch a replay of Reece Stevenson, his overtake for second spot, squaring off the corner at Stowe, powering past Harlan McCabe. We thought McCabe might have a chance to retaliate, but Reece Stevenson got his head down, no problems of the fitness issues he had yesterday, and he cleared off to consolidate his second place. and that's great to see. Some fantastic sportsmanship between Stevenson and McCabe. They knew, they gave it all, and they congratulate each other with a massive wheelie from one of the MLAV Vision Track riders. It might be Johnny Garness in the background, so he has been practicing. But Stevenson waves to the crowd.
Yeah, he heard you yesterday, I think, and decided to make sure he could put on a show for you.
Yeah, and a show he definitely put on, not just for us here in the commentary box, but the fans that decided to stick around. And the British fans, they love a good bit of racing. They love a good bit of talent on the circuit. But here's the results of race number 2 here at Silverstone.
So Johnny Garness, a comfortable winner ahead of Reece Stevenson, Harley McCabe completing the podium. Carter Brown, Harrison Desoy and Clayton Edmonds all in the top 6, with Lucas Brown, Harrison Crosby and Julian Correa also, with Clayton Edmonds actually coming out on top of that battle for 6th place. We go further back and we should see Matthew Roysbrook completing the top 10. Indeed we do, with Peter Willis, Ollie Walker, Harrison McKay, Evan Belford and Alexander Rowan completing the point scoring positions. Alfie Davidson, Ted Wilkinson are 16th and 17th. While coming behind them we have, hopefully it should appear now, indeed we do, and it's gone very quick on me, but it was Bannister, Kelly, Jeffrey, Huntingford, Goodman, Hill, Banish and Harris who complete your race finishers. Keanu Vire, Sullivan Mountsie, Bailey Stewart Campbell, Ryan Hitchcock and Philip Soriak record DNFs. So what does that mean for the championship? It means Johnny Garness now has an 84-point advantage over Carter Brown. Keanu Vire, he recorded the DNF today, but he remains in 3rd, tied on points with Harrison Desoy, while Reece Stevenson moves up into 5th place. Harrison Crosby drops down to 6th. Lucas Brown, Matthew Roysbrook, Julian Correa are all up 1 place each. Ryan Hitchcock, 2 DNFs hasn't helped his cause. He's still in the top 10, but he's dropped 3 places. 2 podiums this weekend sees Harley McCabe jump up to 11th. While this is the rest of the championship standings. Walker, Willis, Hopkins, Rowan, Goodman, Bannister, Kelly and Banish all inside the top 25, with Lucas Hill, Charlie Huntingford, Philip Soriak, who recorded his 2nd points yesterday and a DNF today, just ahead of Ted Wilkinson, who has a solitary point for the season so far.
Well, the British flag waves here at the British GP for your British winner of the British Talent Cup, Johnny Garness. He will be making his way onto the podium on the top step alongside Reece Stevenson and Harley McCabe. The same podium as yesterday, and those 3 riders, well, they were a class above here this weekend. So as the podium ceremonies get ready to get underway, we see the crowd gathering on the other end of the circuit to cheer on the top 3 from the British Talent Cup here at Silverstone. An absolutely fantastic day's racing action here at one of the most iconic circuits in the world, the home of British motorsport. And it sees Johnny Garness take the final win of the day here. So congratulations, big cheers for Harley McCabe as he takes another podium here this weekend. 3rd place yesterday, 3rd place again today. Reece Stevenson in 2nd, but here is the man of the moment, Johnny Garness. The number 57 stands on top for the 8th time this year. And the trophies will be getting handed out to the team, the MLAV Vision Track Racing team. That is another trophy to add to their collection here this year in the British Talent Cup 2022 season. Having to build another trophy cabinet with so many trophies that they have been given. Harley McCabe receives his trophy for 3rd place, and he will be overjoyed with that one as he takes 2 trophies home for 3rd place. He had to wait a long time for one, and his 2 comes along at once. Reece Stevenson smiled just as big as yesterday. He is over the moon with that one, as he was yesterday, but no one will be as happy as Johnny Garness as he lifts the trophy atop as he takes the win here at Silverstone. 2 out of 2 for Garness. Cheers all round for the top three on the podium. Garness, Stevenson and McCabe. Fantastic action by these three as they pose for the picture. And Chris, what fantastic racing action we've had here in the British Talent Cup.
Yeah, 2 super races and 2 super performances from Johnny Garness. But that didn't mean there wasn't action to be found across the track. And I'm very much looking forward to the next instalment of British Talent Cup action.
So here's what happened in the race. Race number 2 here at Silverstone. It was Reece Stevenson started from pole position, but Johnny Garness, he shot into the lead into turn number 1 ahead of Stevenson, McCabe and Desoy trying to ride round the outside of the number 79, but it was Mounsey into 5th spot. Along the Wellington Straight, Stevenson looked over his shoulder as he saw McCabe come blasting past, and a bit of a move there from Carter Brown pushing Evan Belford wide at Luffield, but it was a battle at the front. The top 3, Stevenson took 2 places and 1 into Village, but he wouldn't make it stick as Johnny Garness rode round the outside of Stevenson through Woodcote to take the lead, and no one saw which way he went. Battles further back for 4th place. It was Mounsey, Carter Brown and Desoy battling out for 4th, 5th and 6th, but Mounsey would eventually crash out at Vale. But no one saw which way the championship leader went. Johnny Garness chasing after win number 8 here today. Problems for Keanu Vire, the number 53 rider. He had an injury earlier on this weekend, but he pulled out because of technical issues. But there's a great battle going on for second between Stevenson and Harley McCabe, but Stevenson got the power down, went round the outside of McCabe into Vale Corner, and he pulled away. But it was Johnny Garness who took race number 2 here today, and race win number 8 of the season ahead of Stevenson, and then Harley McCabe rounding off a perfect weekend for him. But Johnny Garness pops a wheelie. Can anyone stop Garness as they head into Thruxton next week? Garness on top at Silverstone. Yo, bud, you there?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, all good. How was that?